I was actually up around 6, but I've had a hard time waking up. I think I'm just finally getting up now. I've already eaten. Um, I didn't get much actually rendered overnight, so what am I doing today? I guess I'm going to be focusing on the laptop. I just gotta actually get up first soon, I think. Okay, so I'm not getting any power on this thing at all, um, but I was, right? So let's review here. The fan was out, so I took the thing apart to clean it. Um, and I got a big chunk of it clearly needed to be cleaned. I got a big chunk of shit out of there, dust. Um, but I haven't been able to turn it back on ever since. Now, initially it was just simply dead, but excuse me. What did I do? I let it sit plugged in for the night, and when I did that, um, it started working again until I plugged in the screen. So I seemed to be creating a short with the screen. Now, I did that a couple of times, and eventually it worked. Each time, until eventually it didn't. Now, what I had to do, so I plug in the screen and it would short, and then I would jiggle with the power cord until it came back. Um, that meant resetting it. That might have meant clearing it, like it might have been static. I don't know. I really don't. All I know is that when I plugged in the screen, it introduced some kind of a break. My conclusion has been that I probably have a ground issue. Now, what does that mean exactly? What that means is that there's probably something touching somewhere the wrong way. A screw might be missing, or like it's. This is a complicated thing. There's electricity flying all over the place, and if something's not, it can happen. So I resolved to put it aside for a little while to take the screen off and then try to get it done that. Um, Meaning I've got just the bottom here, and I'm not getting anything. I've tried to rejiggle it a couple of times. Now, um, obviously this part, I mean, like, is not. You're not supposed to take the power off and put it back in, take it off and put it back in. You're not supposed to do that over and over again, right? So there is a possibility that I may have damaged the power connector as I was going through this process. Now I can go ahead and I can set up my bus pirate check again. I'm not um, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let it. I do believe that leaving it plugged in overnight had something to do with the reason it was able. It seems like maybe it was reflowing something or something like that, right? I got power to the board. Um, if if the screen was creating a short, then perhaps reflowing it put it back together again, and then the screen might have, it took a few times, but eventually it didn't, right? Because I mean, I initially wanted to put it back together piece by piece, right? And in fact, I had the yeah. Before I do that, let's recreate it. I had actually taken that right out of the thing, put it on the ground, and I got power to it by connecting it outside of the case. It could be possible that the case is damaged, and I might need to, like there's lots of different ways to go around this. Yeah, let's take it right out of the case again. I guess that means I'm gonna have to use some more heat sink to put it back down after. Um, I mean the processor's in. There's a little spot on the outside, but I mean that's minor. Um, yeah, let's at least okay. So let's. I'm gonna take it right. I'm gonna take it completely out of the case again. And what that meant was that I actually had the board out with the power out. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you. Let's try that and see if I can get the power flowing again. If I can get the power flowing again, then I'll try to put it back together piece by piece again. I've already identified where the short is. The short has something to do with the the video display, but I mean it might have been the video display has a wireless in it. In fact, I can probably I'm gonna now that I have it taken apart, I'm gonna take the wireless right out because I actually do not want a wireless in my machine. So um, I'll just take it right out of there, and um, I mean that might have been the short there too, right? Very well could have been. It was just like, as soon as I plugged it in, right? Or it might have been like there's a. I gotta figure out exactly what it is, right? There's a like what is this, a ground? It could have been that the ground was out, right? So when I plugged it in, it shorted because the ground was off. And now I need to find a way to reflow it again, right? That's kind of a naive way to describe something that's probably roughly correct, right? Because I was getting power. I mean, we saw it. I showed you. I was getting power coming through. I got the light on. The light on means the circuit was completing. But whenever I plugged that in, it stopped. And like I said, the first couple of times it was okay. But it seemed like the harder that I put it in, right? So if I just touched it, the short was minor. But when I tried to put it in, what I thought was that maybe it wasn't seated, right? So I tried to put the video connector in that much stronger, and it was when I kind of rammed it in that it didn't come back on, right? So um, it seemed like the more I tried to plug the video in, the worse the short got. In a worst case scenario, could I even? I was wondering if I could send the out because there's a video out. It's like a monitor out, right? What would I need to do for the? I mean, I've got the hard drive over here. If I can set it up to take the monitor out through here, I can set it out to there. And if I got the right connector, I can even connect it to this monitor. And you know what? I can even start it up in here. Yeah. Should I have both my laptops running? Well, I mean, I would need to get a new hard drive because that one's not. The hard drive that I initially had in that machine is not good. So I would have to get a new drive for that machine. But if I leave this one in here and I just use that machine for checking internet, typing and stuff, and then I set up that machine to that monitor over here as a dedicated video editing machine. I don't even need to set it up in here. I could set it up. I use a little table. I can set it up in here. I can set it up anywhere really. I'm just trying to think if the short is in the monitor, then I'm gonna need some trial and error. But I mean, if I can get this running with the monitor off completely and like build it and get it to boot, um, I mean the video card's in there, right? So that's just a connector. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, right? Let's try to get this to work. If I can't, It's gonna be a few days before I make this choice, though. But I mean, I'm willing to well, I should do the formal test of checking with the bus pirate. I should do it, but I'm willing to take a chance and perhaps maybe um, buy a new power cable or like a buyer. Like I can't. This is a little connecting piece, right? Is this like how much is that going to cost? $5? Why not take a chance? What I'm concerned about is that if you I'm gonna have to unplug this in a second anyway. And the connector on this is in there somewhere. It fell off. I was actually told it's blurry. It was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago. But when my dad gave me this, he said something like, "Don't take the machine apart because the USB is broken or something." So I mean, it was already like that. But um, what I'm concerned about is these little cables here. You know, like I say, it's obviously not designed to pull in and out all the time, right? And if I do it all the time, then they might be a little bit broken, right? Like it's designed to assemble and just let sit, right? And you know, modern electronics, you're not supposed to fix it. You're supposed to throw it away. And then they run commercials about the environment, right? In fact, this is HP. HP is supposed to be the environmentally friendly one. But nonetheless, they do not design their machines to be serviceable, which was supposed to be the reason that we didn't buy Macs, was because we wanted our machines to be serviceable. Anyways, it's I mean, I've taken it apart like 10 times now, right? So it's a reasonable point of failure, right? But I'll check it before I buy it, right? I can do that. I've got it's not a very good voltmeter, but it'll at least get the point across as to whether or not it's actually coming through. But nonetheless, even if that is running, I do believe that I do have some kind of short out here, right? And I do have to reflow it somehow. So let's go ahead and do the process again. I'm going to do exactly what I did last time. I'll run you through it a little bit more formally this time. I'm going to even use the same power source. I'm not willing to give up on this. Partly because I want the microphone. Although, I mean, at the end of the day, I can buy a new microphone. And partly just because I don't like throwing away computers. And this is particularly wasteful because, like, it's fine, right? Like I say, it's what am I going to be throwing away? If I do throw it away, I'm going to be throwing away the motherboard. I'll take the DVD and I'll pop it in there, so I'll swap that out. And I guess that hard drive is done anyways. I've got RAM. That's RAM. No, this was the machine that works better. It's like, and I can't take these parts if I could, right? If I could take the battery out and put it in there, because this machine, like that machine doesn't have a battery, but the battery doesn't fit. That machine only has 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it could take 8, but the type of RAM is different, right? And in fact, I don't even know if it's going to take the CD. I'm assuming I didn't even. I mean, it's at least with the hard drive, right? So, I gotta find a way to get something out of this, right? Because otherwise, it's a waste. I'm wasting RAM. I'm wasting all kinds of stuff. I mean, I guess if I can find a similar model for $50 that doesn't have a battery and only has a couple of gigabytes of RAM, I guess it'll work out. But I mean, what are the chances of that, right? Not so high, right? So let's go ahead and get this going. But I mean, I gotta figure something else, right? Like, and I know the board's fine, or at least it's fine so long as the short's not. I'm just hoping I didn't short it too badly. But I mean, if I shorted it before, it's working now. or sorry, it worked before. So if I can find a way to get it to come back before, why can't I find a way to get it to come back again, right? So I mean, I'm not. I was about to give up on it, but then it came back, and at this point, I'm not likely to give up on that easily. Um, there's lots of things. I wish I was vlogging when. I wish I was vlogging when I lost my BIOS in here because my board was it was out, you know, uh, and it took me like 2 months to fix it, but I fixed it. So I mean, like I don't know, and I'm so long as that short is not, like I'm confident I can fix this. And like I say, we'll see in the end if it's just the power. If it's just the power, only cost me a couple dollars, right? But let's go ahead and do it. How's the I got what? I got 28, 29. I got 3 vlogs rendered. Yeah, it's not many. So that one's it's moving very slowly. I mean, this is a machine of very modest means, and ultimately it's not. That's the other thing. Like ultimately, that's not acceptable. I'm gonna have to at least get some more RAM in here. So fixing this is like it's almost like it's not even a choice. I have to fix it. So um, and like I say, I've been over this before, and I'm like, even if it costs me like, I mean, it's gonna be. I would rather spend $10 more to fix this than buy something new. If it comes, I mean, it's got to be a reasonable, you know, uh, reasonable error level because I don't want to throw it away. That's wasteful, right? I don't like throwing things out. I don't care what it is. I don't like throwing food out. I don't like throwing clothes out. I don't like throwing electronics out. I don't like. I'm very very attuned to the idea of recycling and reusing things and minimizing waste as much as possible. So it's like I'm almost lost in an ideological uh, sort of a point on this. Um, I mean, it's not like I mean, how long would it take me to save up like even $500 for a new computer? It would take me a year, and the authorities would probably get on my ass in the process. I mean, I'm not going to do that, right? I'd do just about anything else before I did that, right? So it's not. I have to fix this. So let's get to it, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so that should be definitely more than 2 volts. I'm just gonna verify that I have that set up properly. I think I do. But I kind of winged it, so make sure I got that right. But if that holds, then I need a new power cable, and that's as clear as it is. Yeah, I had the wrong. I didn't have the right return, and I was telling you this that's the maximum. So um, seems to be okay. At the very least, it's. See, I did this before, and like, if I'm repeating my steps, maybe some of the things I did actually helped the flow. I don't know. That's probably silly, but um, the power cable works. There's not any point in buying a new cable if it works. It's just, I mean, obviously, like, it's a little, it's a little flimsy. But I mean, I'm getting a signal, so what do I want to tell you? It might. You gotta wonder if it's the other way around, right? If it might be that it's funny on that side. Right? It's funny on the board, but I currently have no reason to think that changing the power supply would affect the outcome. So let's go to the next step. Okay, so I'm still not. I tried reseating the power repeatedly. Push it in hard, pull it out, push it in. I'm not getting anything. So, like I said, the last time I did this, I let that sit overnight. Um, and it may or may not have. It might have been a coincidence, but see what I noticed the last time I did it was that I noticed that there was some warmth around that side of the board, right? And like I was completely surprised. I just plugged it in, and in fact, the thing was entirely disassembled, right? So it was I'm gonna do one thing at a time, and it turns out like I learned that it was the video cable that was shorting, right? So if the video, like I say, if that created a serious short, then I might need to let the let the board just be plugged in for a little while to try to get the circuit running again. And like I say, it may or may not work. I don't know. I'm just trying to think if I can remember what the temperature in here was at the time. I'm thinking it might have been fairly high. Um, I don't remember at all. Um, Either way, speaking of which, I gotta close my windows because it's getting late and it's not gonna be warm tonight. But I'm gonna let it plug in and see what happens. If I get the same kind of, see, I'm convinced that I'm at least getting power out of the connector. I'm not convinced that it's actually, you know, going into the board the way it should. So I still don't know if the short is. Let me rephrase it. I know that I was creating a short by plugging in the video. So I know that there's an issue over there on the board somewhere. But I don't know whether or not there's an issue near the power as well, right? So I don't know if there's one issue or two. So I still don't know if replacing, you know. But well, okay. So the thing I'm doing right now is I'm plugging it in, and I'm seeing does it warm up on that side. If it does, then I'll let it sit. If it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know what the next step is. Let's think about it. Actually, it took like the length of the time I was talking to warm up. So I'm definitely getting power into the board, but it doesn't seem like it's like this is cold and that's hot, right? Where is it? It's something around here. But like I say, it worked before, so let's just let it sit. See if I can, see if the heat allows it to go all the way through. I'm not pretending I understand this. I don't completely understand this. I know that when I plugged something in over here, it shorted it, and I know that it seems to be like there's some kind of a break over here. So, I don't know where am I plugging what in? That's all keyboard stuff, right? And that's the audio. That's the that's the big keyboard ribbon. That's USB. Why would they do that like that? What a silly design. Like those USBs are like let's unless is this the right? Is this board in the right? I'm wondering. Well, because I mean that almost seems like it's like what a silly setup, right? Anyways, yeah, I don't think the connectors are really. Sorry, yeah. So that's for the mouse. Sorry. So what the hell's that for again? That's for the power, right? So that's the power. It's the track pad. That's the keyboard. That's the other USB, and that's the audio. Okay. So, like it's really hot over here. I don't know if this is bad touching it or not, but like it's like nothing over here, right? So there's no power at all over there. Or is that does that even make sense itself? If it's cycling around, I should get a light there, right? Yeah, am I making sense? Should the whole thing be warm if I'm just, or should it just go all the way through? In fact, does the warmth even suggest there's a break there? I don't even know. And why is my battery low? Shouldn't be, should it? I should have more space than that. Anyways, that's what I did last time to get it to come back, was I just let it sit plugged in, and then I surprised myself, and then it worked a bunch of times until I shorted it by plugging that in. And in fact, I think that I shorted it in the first place by plugging that in. That was clearly the problem over there to begin with. So let's see if I can bring it back by letting it sit. And see, I was hoping that just letting it sit would have been, but let's let it sit plugged in and let's see what happens when it comes back. Wasn't sure what I was gonna do for the rest of the day, but my property owner just came in and she gave me the $58. So, that's what, Tuesday night? My other $60 comes out on Friday night, so I guess what I should do is my show listings. That's what I'll do for the night. I've got my laptop under there, charging, and we'll see what it's like in the morning. And show listings it is for the night. Okay, so it's midnight and I'm done my primary run. I wanna put a priority on like rock bands and stuff, but it's like I didn't find anything else. There's this Terra Mellows thing here, which is like it's like 6 to 9. It's gonna be full of kids, although it probably isn't gonna be full of kids. It'll be full of half kids and half old people on their way home from work, I guess, which probably should be me. But if there was something else, it's just like that list is not, you know. If there was like a, but it's not, you know. It's like, and it's not cheap either. So I'm not really familiar with helium. I need to listen to it, but it's probably doubtful. And then like that's it. Like, well, maybe Big Business at the end, but that's like the way I'm looking at the Big Business show is like if I don't, I mean it's a Saturday night in the Far Walk, so I'm gonna be stuck overnight. The way I'm looking at it is like it's if I don't do anything else, maybe I'll do that at the end of the month kind of thing, right? So I'm back to if I'm doing anything this month, it's gonna be dancing, and I might go to that. If I do, I'll go to that too, probably too. But I need to sorry, not that, but that. It's in Windsor. I need to do a little bit more research, but it looks like this is going to be like I say, April was mostly a jazz month, and then May was like supposed to be not. It was supposed to be something else, but it turned into a techno month. And June, May. I mean, it's gonna have to be like I'm gonna have to pick probably one weekend, right? So, but I mean, it looks like it's gonna be techno, and that's that sort of thing, right? So, um, I need to take a better look at it if it's like I don't want to just go dancing for the sake of dancing. So I want to take a look at it. Like, is that any good before I go? Because that's a long night, and I'll be there all night, right? So let's take a look at it and see. But that's to be honest with you, if I'm going anywhere, it's either going to be dancing this week, or maybe I might try to look to find something on the 21st. And that's what the second run's going to be about, is to fill in the gaps. But I mean, there's nothing that's like jumping out that says I have to do it. Or I could go to none of it. We'll see, right?